Happy holidays, everybody, and welcome to this week's live stream. Just because Christmas was yesterday does not mean that we would not have a live stream because, guys, no surprise, we have bowl game this week. So I am Emperor OU Flag Guy. You're probably wondering why I added the Emperor. It's because I won my fantasy football league. Woo! Won it tonight by 5 points, and if I wanted to, I could really run the score up, but I benched my running back. So first time in 5 years.
Did you win it by default?
I did not. I actually played my opponent, and it was a true number 1 versus number 2.
How did you?
In our 5 years.
Wait, how did you win? How did you win your league when there's 2 weeks left of games?
You never do the last week because of people sitting out, and we never in our league we did not vote for a 17 league. We voted for 16 weeks. So we stuck with 16 because what we have in our system is we do 4 pods, and then you face everybody else in the league one time, except for the people you were in a pod with the last year before. If we added an extra week in, it throws everything off with it. So we do a 16 week.
So next week doesn't count?
Nope. We're done. We did our 16 weeks, no different than a regular season. So
but next week is week 6. I mean, I guess
it's week 17. Yeah, it's week 17. But the flip side of it is week 18. Nobody does finals during week 18. Too many players or teams sit out. So regardless, I won. I'm happy, and I'm happy to say I had 3 OU players, which hurts me on the inside of Mike Stoops' defense ruining our players. But I started Mark Andrews, Mixon, and Hollywood Brown. So they got me my points.
Wow.
Got me my points. So
did you have Tressway as your punter? He's punting very well tonight.
I mean, if he's on one of my teams, sure. He's not usually an individual. We don't usually do the punters.
We don't have punters in the league.
I wish I thought about doing some defense stuff with it, but it's so difficult with those.
Tressway is so far the 3rd best punter in NFL history according to numbers. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Correct.
Tulsa Union represent, by the way.
Yeah, he was a kicker, but as far as I'm aware, I don't have his defense. So
yeah, Turk got to come back next year and try to match Tressway. So
yeah, Tressway is on Washington, isn't he?
Yeah, he's with the football team that is Washington.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, so, break that up. Oh well, he caught
That's what I thought. So regardless, for this live stream and Wednesday's like my fancy recap one, it's gonna be Emperor OU Flag Guy. Everybody else though, thank y'all for joining. Sean, thank you again for joining tonight. Gavin, thank you for joining. How was both of y'all's holiday? Good? Was it nice and relaxing? Did you get any talk to family? Get any good presents? Anything of the sort?
I did nothing.
That's fantastic.
Just mostly had to work Christmas Eve, but got to hang out with my family on Christmas Day, and that's just about it.
That's what I did. I saw the folks. We had some just family time, and folks say hi to both of y'all. So nothing too crazy from it. So
I live streamed the NFL games yesterday, and Baker and Kiowa both lost. So that sucked, but it is what it is. I got rated apparently.
Although Baker's 3 out of 4 interceptions were pretty horrendous, though.
Yeah, that was. I don't necessarily blame that on Baker, but that's me. Now you said rated though. Did people come into your YouTube stream and start spamming?
Some Packers YouTuber that's got like 200 plus subscribers, I just ignored it, and I just kept watching the chat. It's acknowledge us, damn it, and they all eventually left. And it's am I supposed to do that? What am I supposed to do here? And I guess, did you know you were rated by so and so? I was like, does that mean something? It's I mean, if they spam me with a bunch of super chats, I definitely acknowledge them. But
if they spam you with the super chats, you'll definitely acknowledge them.
Yeah, if I got $20 a pop from these guys, I'm like, yeah, awesome, Merry Christmas, sweet. But no, I didn't. I'm just I was just talking to Elo during the whole time. We were just having a good conversation, we tend to do. He's doing good. Gonna set him up. As I mentioned before, softball is gonna be a big focus in the spring for me, and he's gonna have a weekly spot, and we're gonna talk OU softball and talk about how things are going, and I'm going to give his stuff a plug and everything. So to get him more, his YouTube channel needs a little bit more love and likes, because no one does softball like him and Victor.
Sure, send him my way, Sean, and I'll happily subscribe. Always good to hear this about softball.
Yeah, but we're definitely going to be covering some OU softball on my channel this season. Like no half-assing it.
Good.
Like I had fun doing it last year during the tournament and everything. So a lot of fun.
It's fun, especially when you have someone like Eric who knows like what he's doing, knows all the stuff like off the top of his head. It's like for you, except he's softball for it. Like that's always good to have. So, but
yeah, OU's got. OU's got like 11. OU has like 11 tournaments and invitationals they're going to before they start the actual season in March. So it's like seriously, it's like 4 or 5 like invitationals they're taking part in to start the season. So
yeah,
they'll be traveling around a lot. So
that's
what I look forward to in February.
It's their 2021 victory tour before they actually get into the main stuff at this point. However you want to say, it's their warm-ups. So, but that all being said, though, we still have a game this week, which is surprising because I'm actually surprised that they have not canceled this game yet at this point.
Well, I mean, OU's already there. A lot of these games, like some of the teams haven't even arrived, and they've been having issues before they would even leave. So,
That's correct. Now, that being said, though, is Oregon there right now? Do we know if they made it to San Antonio?
I believe they are. It would be very awkward if they weren't a few days out. So
I mean, look at the other bowls. There was other ones that were waiting till last day, and then they're like didn't even let the other team know and just go, well, sorry guys, we're not going.
I gotta check Oregon's Twitter account. Dan Lanning, yeah, they're in San Antonio. Yeah, they're practicing.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a tweet from 3 hours ago. So everyone's there. Everyone's there, ready to go.
Good with it. I mean, what are we? We're up to what? Still 5 or 6 bowl games that canceled. I mean, unless you're just simping for the bowl games at this point for it because the sanctity of the bowls. No one really.
Well, my favorite one that made me laugh my ass off today was like this bowl game in Fenway Park they've been trying to do for 2 years, but has gotten canceled both times because of COVID.
Yeah,
and they can't play. It's like, first of all, playing a bowl game in a baseball stadium is always a bad idea. It's
terrible.
It's just not like your stadium's not built for football. I'll never forget the one time they played the old like Yankee Stadium one time, and the dimensions weren't like they didn't have enough safe buffer to play both ways, like to use both sides of the field because players could run and accidentally fall into the dugout. So they had to. So they literally had to. They literally had to do like half court version of football, where
where they had to switch. Yeah, I remember that.
So everyone had to go the same direction on offense, like the whole game. And if you got like a pick, you could run it back, I guess. But then if you got stopped, then they would just move to the other side of the field and put the ball there. I forgot. I need to look up what game that was, but that just made me like, they should never do these games in baseball stadiums. It's just a bad idea.
It's a gimmick at best, and it's just a very poorly implemented with it. So, I mean, I have no problems with them canceling the bowl games. Apparently there's a lot of people, and I didn't realize it, Sean, where there was a lot that were like, but we have to protect the bowls. ESPN and the playoff have ruined the bowls. What about the bowls, guys? No one wants to watch the bowls.
Ruin them all.
Yeah, like, why don't we implement a system where we can have a bowl game in a city and make it a cultural? I'm like, no players are going to do that, guys. But only 2% of the players get drafted. No. Nobody cares, guys. They're not going to do that.
This is what people miss. And this is like the thing, like we no longer have bowl games of matchups against teams that when I think of a bowl game, I look at the matchup. Is this a game I would watch in the regular season? Would I circle it and say, man, I want to watch that game? And for over 50% of these bowl games, they don't apply. There's a lot of group of 5 bowl games, but when you start getting to this week in like late December and you get to January 1st and it's like, okay, you start seeing these are some matchups I probably want to see, because part of it is like brand name teams. And then there's also, you just see some teams who have done well over the year and like they're like double-digit win teams. And it's like, ooh, that's a matchup be fun. But the matchups are no longer fun because the best players aren't playing in these games anymore. Correct. Like the Peach Bowl is a perfect example of that.
Or last year, I mean, OU Florida, a lot of Florida, and that could have been a great matchup. And then 14, I think, players opted out. It was expected to be OU was going to railroad Florida at that point. Like, It's just,
I mean,
if
they hadn't, it would be very upsetting.
Well, it's also too. It's Sean. The joke that you've always had. That's true, by the way. But the joke you've always had of who wants to go play in the Independence Bowl at Shreveport, the world's biggest truck stop. I cracked that joke to my brother-in-law last night. He's like, "Yeah, you're right. Nobody wants to go there. It sucks." And he was part of the band at OSU. Like he's like, "Yeah, there's redeeming stuff in Shreveport when you're not attending a bowl game." Sure, no, there's not. Like no one wants to go there. And I was explaining it to my dad and my brother-in-law last night as well, where unless it's the playoff, the Fiesta Bowl because you're getting a PlayStation 5, or Hawaii Bowl because you get a free trip to Hawaii. No,
hey, wait! Don't forget the Bahamas Bowl now. Come on now.
And the Bahama Bowl. You're right. The Bahamas Bowl.
Like if your bowl game isn't in a fun location, like no one wants to go to Boise and play a bowl game. That sucks.
You're telling me you don't want to go play in the Idaho Potato Bowl?
No, I don't. See,
no, nobody does.
Yeah.
If you're going to San Diego for the Holiday Bowl, you're not like, maybe you're not happy to be there, but it's San Diego. There's shit to do in San Diego. Are you going to? I mean, if you're going to the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl is dumb, but at least you're in LA and there's shit you can do in LA. So, like, if you're going to create new bowl games, like, where's the locale? Where are you playing these games? Like, oh, it's a trip for the players. Like, going to Detroit is a trip. Like, it sounds like a punishment, if you ask me.
Oh, well, and that's the thing I keep explaining as well, where it's like, let's take OU with Oregon as an example. San Antonio has stuff to do. There's SeaWorld, of course. Opinions aside on SeaWorld. There's SeaWorld. There's the Alamo. There's things to do. I would never be opposed
to the Riverwalk.
Players
Don't forget the Riverwalk.
There's the Riverwalk. Like, there is stuff to legitimately do. There's stuff like, and I'm using it as an example, like Washington, D.C. There is a lot of stuff. If they ever wanted to hold a bowl game there, sure.
Better be a beach where I'm going. Is there a beach?
Orlando, Disney World. Like, there's stuff to do. But again, they think it's like, oh, well, when the players are there, they're just going to go free. No, they have scheduled events of what they're doing to entertain those players in between practices. They don't have to just go, have fun, guys. See you in 2 hours. No.
Well, if you go to the Vegas Bowl, I hope you just let me go out for however long. Just like, let's have a bowl game in Vegas. Yes, let's do it.
Well, it's also too. There's also the ones that say like, oh, well, if we pay them a good enough NIL deal, we'll get them in. And you and I have discussed it where if it's not $1 million minimum, they're not going to play. There's no reason to. And it's what it comes down to as well is the normal everyday fan has been priced out of going to these bowl games. You're not going to get the fans, and that's why people don't want to go to these bowl games either.
Well, no, and plus schools lose money on them.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people, like, oh, the money they make is like, you do realize that when you calculate the travel of the team, the staff, the band, all the expenses, because not everything is like just paid for. Like when you even out at the end of the day, most of these little bitty bowl games, these schools lose money. They're in the red at the end of the day. Like I always bring up, OU goes to the Fiesta Bowl against UConn 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? At the end of the day, of all the money that's paid out, you know what the absolute net profit was for OU at the end of the day?
I think it was something like $40,000.
No, like it wasn't. It wasn't $40,000. It was $9,000.
Oh yeah. UConn lost a lot of money. I think they lost like $2 million or something like that with it.
I don't know. I don't think they lost $2 million. Let's get like that would be like a front page news. I don't think they lost $2 million.
I could have sworn they lost a lot. It was six figures at least. They lost.
No. But OU like net gain was $9,000. But you're going to play in the Fiesta Bowl back then because it's a big bowl and Bob needed a freaking win in a major bowl game finally. And he got one.
Yeah, Sean. 2011. Yeah, UConn lost $1.6 million going to the Fiesta Bowl.
Oh well, it's just like people like scream about these things, and it's like, look, and the thing I was trying to get to, it's like you want to see these matchups against teams who've had really good seasons, or just brand name teams that you don't see play each other often, and the only way you're going to get those back is if you expand the playoff, and that's how you get those games again, where people are going to play in them and matter again. And no, everyone can't win the national championship, but you can still win a first round play. If you win a first round playoff game and you get to go to the Fiesta Bowl to the next round and you get to play and guess what? If you win that game, you get a trophy, you get to celebrate and you move on. And if you lose the next week or two, so be it. You still have that. You'll have that big bowl memory that you won in the quarters or whatever. And you have the sanctity of this Fiesta Bowl and the rose and the sugar and the orange and all that stuff will be saved. But they're still trying to. Every conference and every university president wants their own special way to do it because they all have the right idea how to do things. And then you can blame us and apparently like. I just got told about like how Big 12 is going to make sure that they're going to milk every nickel and dime they can out of OU and Texas when they leave. They are going to make it hurt as much as possible when they make that exit. But it's not going to matter at the end of the day. Like they'll both bounce back fairly quickly, regardless. So
they're brand name enough. We'll have too many donors out.
Well, it's not just brand name. It's not brand name or donors. Like TV deals and all that stuff are going to because the SEC contract is coming up and it's going to be when you add OU and Texas to it, it's going to be huge.
Don't forget too that wasn't it too that CBS maybe even ending SEC stuff a year early.
That's a possibility. We just don't know yet. Like I would like to play on CBS for 1 year just to have the theme song.
No,
that's ESPN. No. The SEC on CBS theme is what people love. People are going to miss that, but next year could be the last year of it. So, everyone's waiting to. I'm sure during this off season we're going to hear a bunch of hubbub on when that's all going to take place and how many meetings they're going to be, bowl games, like people get mad at me. He's like, "Why are you hating on the bowl games?" Because they don't matter. Look at all these teams. They're not even bothering to go. They're canceling them. Like Miami's backing out. I brought up
a good example, Sean, and Gavin can relate to this one, where it's like, okay, let's take this to high school level. You have a 16-team playoff here in Oklahoma. Oh well, we want to do like a Oklahoma City, a Mustang versus UConn postseason just for the feel good. That sounds stupid. Why do we have it? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's just no way that you would get those two schools, especially on like a 2-hour drive away from each other and everything, just to have a matchup. There's just no way.
Yeah, it's dumb. Just like the Bulls, they are dumb. Like, they don't mean anything.
There's like 10, 11, 12 bowl games that people supposedly care about. Like all these other bowl games people bring up, I'm like, you don't care about these bowl games. They barely existed 10 years ago.
Yeah, what's the 12? It's what? The New Year's 6. From my understanding, the Outback Bowl, the Alamo Bowl, or the Hawaii. And if you're a gimmick person like me, the Idaho.
Well, no, I'm talking about the ones that have been around forever, like the Liberty, the Holiday, the Sun.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's some games that have been around for a while. The Rose Bowl was like the initial one. Obviously way back when, but it's just like college, like people forget, like the reason I want to play like college football is the only sport that has outsourced its postseason. Even the college football playoff is outsourced. Like the NCAA doesn't run it. So even with the playoff expansion and everything that's going to potentially happen, it's still going to be an outsourced postseason because we got to have the bowl games, the big ones involved. And it's just insane how, but the NCAA is gonna go the way of the dodo anyway at this point. So it's we're just waiting patiently, and the Alamo Bowl. We haven't done the Alamo Bowl ever before.
We almost escaped it.
No, we never had the Alamo Bowl.
I need to ask some of my Texas friends. So what do you guys do in this game? It's like, you guys seem to win it. You guys seem to be like Alamo Bowl, like dynasty going on here. Seem to be really good at it. How do you Alamo Bowl?
That's a good question because it's just, speaking of Alamo Bowl, outside of our players, most of our players are going to be there outside of 3 of them. And then Oregon's best offense have opted out. So I've been cracking the joke. This is going to be the biggest ranked pillow fight match in college football at this point because a lot of the players we want to see aren't playing.
Well, defensively for OU, if I mean, we're missing like Benito and Perion and Asamoah, and who else am I missing? Hazelwood's transferred
Nick
to
Benito,
Arkansas. I already said Benito. Yeah, he was the first one I said.
Asamoah. Oh, I had it on a.
Wasn't Hazelwood transferring over to Arkansas?
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah, he already left. Man, now you're gonna have me bugging on that. It's Benito, Asamoah, and
Perion Winfrey.
Perion
Winfrey.
Yeah, and then Hazelwood, as you said, for offense. But I can't think anybody else. I think the biggest news that came out of the Alamo Bowl is Woody Washington's coming back. Like, I think that's the biggest news.
I mean, it's not a shock to me because he's only a redshirt sophomore. He had the option to go pro, I guess. But the fact that he's just come out and said, "Oh, don't worry, I'm coming back now," it's not going to be a thing you're going to have to wonder about in like January. Like, oh yeah, that's right, Isaiah Thomas. That's right, Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, thank you, Bianca. Appreciate it, Isaiah Thomas. Yeah.
But yeah, so but yeah, most of our D line is out, and we're gonna have like Reggie Grimes, and I think Redmond's playing. At least he should. So you'll have him. I don't know if Clayton Smith is going to be playing, how much he's going to play at that rush end spot. That'll be interesting. I guess like I am kind of interested to see some of the guys who have been redshirting, who've been backups. Like how well are they going to perform, and what are they going to do? So and obviously Caleb's playing. You know, he wished everyone a Merry Christmas yesterday, and you know the first thing I thought of was like, what does this mean? Is this a cryptic tweet? So, my God, like, could he be leaving? Could he be staying? Or is he just wishing us all a Merry Christmas? You know, you just.
I'm going to go with option number 3. That he's probably just wishing us a Merry Christmas.
I mean, Josh, it's possible, but you just don't know with the way Twitter is nowadays.
I know. I know, right? You could say
he didn't put a lock emoji next to Merry Christmas, so he's not really locked down on wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. So
I know. Maybe
I need to get into it. I need to get in one of those Twitter spaces and hear all the juicy
raise
gossip.
Your hand in it though.
I'm gonna raise my hand. Ask him. So, what classes are you taking, Covey McKenzie? What classes are you taking your freshman year? Oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Just breathing heavily into their microphones. Oh, Kobe, you're so sexy.
I mean, that's what that Twitter space is. And you know, it's funny.
Okay.
I thought about like Wednesdays, like, maybe to try. No. I've already backed up on that poor life choice. Nope. I'm good. Nope. What do you got, Gavin? What do you got for us?
Okay. So, my whole deal is that, I've been trying to see, been thinking about this though, but what are your guys' thought, if Caleb Williams, at this point with how things have been going and everything, you guys are you guys certain that he's going to stay, or you think he might transfer after the bowl game?
I don't know where he would go at this point. Like, where would he go?
Where I'm going with that, because
it's not just the fact that he would leave. It's just like, okay, he can't go pro. He has to play at least 2 more years, and so you got that. And find me a spot he could go to because you think Caleb wants to go to just a regular Power 5 team? No. He'd want to go to a big school. So a lot of people throw out there, well, USC is available. So people like early on, that was a big worry. If he was going to go to USC, he would have gone by now. He'd be there. I don't think him waiting to do it just doesn't make any sense. I said people threw Penn State out there, but Penn State already got a guy. So yeah. I just everything is looking towards he's coming back. Like, he hasn't put out a graphic on Twitter or anything, mind you. But I don't think if he was leaving, if he was seriously considering doing that, I don't think he would bother to play in this bowl game, because why would you risk that if you're not coming back? So, plus, I mean, we could see a lot of Ralph Rucker in this game because that's all we got left pretty much as a walk-on QB. That would make things very entertaining. Man, there's a fight on the Washington sideline. Guys are fighting with each other. The team's fighting against each other.
Sweet. Maybe they'll beat each other up.
I mean,
well, I gotta agree with you, Sean, on my gut is saying that Caleb's gonna stay. That, or it's a kidney stone. but I don't think it's a kidney stone.
What are you, 50?
I do think I had my first one actually after the OU West Virginia game in 2014.
Oh, okay. But no, like the whole Caleb leaving OU is kind of like, it's silly at this point, in my opinion.
I do too. It's one of those, it'll play out at this point. I have my own opinion. I think he is going to stay, especially with Dylan going to UCLA. I think that's the very kind of obvious. Well, it's the other part of it.
Eric, Eric told me like we lucked out on that one because I think Dylan is like a little prick. So everyone thinks Spencer Rattler's a prick. I've heard Dylan Gabriel is a prick too. He's like, I'm like, why didn't you tell me this beforehand? Because like I thought he was going to go follow Levy. He's like, that obviously changed. Why didn't you tell me anyway? well, it's like, well, that obviously changed because obviously when he got to OU, it's like he doesn't need Dylan Gabriel because he's got Caleb Williams. Because clearly he's talked. Because like, if Dylan Gabriel had transferred to OU, that's a bad sign that Caleb will be leaving.
Correct, and that's where I think like if he would have, Caleb would be gone. And it's just safe to say that now that he's not, yes, there's still an air of uncertainty. But it's also, too, when you looked in the transfer portal, there was like 20 quarterbacks in there. I don't think he wants to compete against that.
Well, there's a lot of guys in the portal who may not find a home, and they're going to be very upset.
Correct. And, I mean, the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. And they're learning, like, just because you enter does not guarantee, like that, you're going to go somewhere. And there was an assumption of that.
Well, a guy like Caleb would definitely find a landing spot. He's like a 5-star quarterback for crying out loud. But there's some guys who just... they aren't happy, and they're like 3 stars with 5-star hearts, and they think they're going to find a really good landing spot, and their choices are very slim pickings. And it's like, I don't want to go play for the Sun Belt teams. It's like, well, guess what? You may not have a chance to go anywhere else. That like they're thinking they're going to land in a big time Power 5. Like I'm going to go from like Oregon to Auburn or something like, you know, like a bone or Auburn to Oregon, like Bo Nix stick. So that's not guaranteed to you. So like the next month or so is going to be insane for recruiting and just transfer portal and just what's going to potentially go down there. So I am just OU is going to be very, very active in getting guys for National Signing Day 2, Electric Boogaloo on February 2nd. And then, I mean, a week from today, we should be getting some good news from Mr. Javante Barnes, because everyone is indicating that he's clearly signed now. I mean, we'll find out for sure next week when he announces here in Orlando for the Under Armour game, because that's the only thing. That's the only game. I mean, there's 2 things I care about next week: that game and Dallas versus Arizona in the NFL. So, got a Sophie's choice there.
Here's something I wanted to ask you while we're talking kind of the bowl stuff as well. The opt-outs right now for Oregon is Kayvon Thibodeau, Devin Williams, Michael Wright, DJ James, and then tackle Jason Jones. Did OU catch really a big break with any of them? Because I'll be honest, I have not watched Oregon this year. I really don't know outside.
Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be the first pick of the draft, so yes.
Right. Well, that's my thing. Outside of Thibodeau, I don't know the other guys, so that's a loss for them, obviously, for that. But what about
I mean, just for OU, it all depends on like how much is that defensive line gonna, because they're going to be coached up by Odom and Thibodeau and Jamar Cain, and so they're gonna finish up there. And you know, there's people who are like, why are they coaching? It's like, well, a lot of coaches are gonna finish up at like their old schools before they take over. Jeff Lebby is gonna be the OC for Ole Miss for the Sugar Bowl. So, I mean, it's just for some guys it's easier, and like they're gonna finish up what they got to do.
Yeah, and it's different. It's not a head coaching thing.
I mean, Alex Grinch, when Alex Grinch left with Riley, he got on that plane with him. He didn't have a job technically at USC yet.
Correct.
He was not guaranteed. Right. It was like just hearing all the stuff after the fact. It's like he got on that plane not really knowing 100% he had a job, but he had to go because he knew he wasn't being retained. No one was gonna keep Alex Grinch. As much as I've defended Alex Grinch and like been, you know, I defended it. I got called a Disney Sooner. That's a name that doesn't exist in our fan base. It's an SEC thing apparently for Georgia fans, and it's like some troll the other night, and I'm like, I just ignored it and I laughed. Yeah, because what are
you talking about, John? Huh? What?
Well, no, I got called that because apparently I think we're gonna just win. we're just going to win the national title every year. That's not what I believe. I never think we're going to win the national title every year. I think we can win the Big 12 every year and have a chance to make the playoff. Like, if that's like, call me crazy, but Oklahoma's been in that position a lot lately, so I must be losing my mind. I must be like totally off base here, assuming they could do that. But yeah, they were one or two plays. They were one or two plays away from making that happen again this year. So
correct.
Regardless,
I mean, it's not unrealistic to have OU realistically be in the running for it. Now, if they're eliminated early November, something like that, hey, that happens. But OU as a brand, yeah, they need to be in that running every single year. But to say everybody realistically knows OU's not going to win it every year. That's just not possible. That's unrealistic. In 10 years, once they get another non-Nick Saban, they're not going to win it. They're not going to be in that running.
Well, next year, it's like, there's like so many holes they have to fill. And, I'm not going to, until we get through spring, get an idea of like, just have an idea what the depth looks like and how things are going. And it's a new regime. I don't know what kind of info we're going to get out of spring as opposed to, the lockdown system of Riley. But I think like the next 3-4 months are going to be key for this program to whether that they're going to compete for a Big 12 title next year. Obviously, having Caleb is going to be very key. You have your quarterback, but the offensive line is a big issue. Recruiting wise, you got to have you got your 2 tackles in your class right now. Can you go get 2 really high quality guards? Like Devin Campbell is the big prize. It will be the biggest prize they're going after the rest of this recruiting cycle. But whether he's going to start or get playing time is another story, because he's not going to be an early enrollee and he won't be there till July if we get him. So the question for the offensive line is a guy like Savion Byrd going to, like, after redshirting, take that big step? Is he going to be ready? Is Wanya Morris going to finally take that step, that the guy we thought we were going to get coming in? And everyone was, where's Wanya Morris? Why isn't Wanya Morris doing things instead of Eric Swenson, who's like been the Swiss Army knife of the OU offensive line? You got to replace key guys on the defensive line. You got to replace Perrion. You got to replace Nick Benito. And you have some guys you think that can be talented, but are they going to be as disruptive? Isaiah Thomas is going to be is like in the past few years is one of our best players, like consistently top to bottom. And I like our linebacking talent more than I do our D-line talent right now, from like an experience and just potential standpoint right now. And the secondary, of course, you gotta be excited with the fact that Woody's coming back. Key Lawrence took a really big step. What's Billy Bowman going to do year 2? Because he was a true freshman, and like he had some moments here and there, but
he had flashes. Absolutely.
Yeah, but you got to play him too. Also, which like
what you're telling me we have to put our best players on the field?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me there's a rule where we don't have to have all the best players on the field.
Yeah,
you need to go tell Alex Grinch that.
Well, we don't have to anymore. He's gone. So, but yeah, like there's a lot. Like OU has a lot of potential for next season, and they have that every year, but we don't have like, who are the guarantees? We thought like Spencer Rattler was a guarantee. We were wrong. So, Caleb Williams is going to learn a new offense. He's got a new coordinator, so you got to see what he can do, how he adjusts. You're going to lose guys like Kennedy Brooks, and think about this for a moment. As grim as a year it's been at times. The running back depth, we were worried if Kennedy or Eric Gray go down, we're screwed. And then neither one did. Of all the things that happened, we did not have a major injury to either one of those 2 guys. And then we get Marcus Major back, and he gets used for like garbage time against Tech. So if you get,
don't we have another running back that's going to be coming in next season? If I'm not mistaken, in the 22 class. Gavin
Sawchuk out of Colorado, and if you get Javante Barnes next week as well from Vegas, then you're going to have, Eric Gray, Major, and those 2, and they might get one more. But like running back depth, as long as you guys don't beat up your weed guy in the off season, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys play. So just don't beat up your weed guy.
Yeah, the only thing that I've been having issues, though, and this is going to be where I've been a little bit. I know, Brooks had that, where he opted out and everything, but, I know he's supposed to be like that little short stat back and everything, But it's like, the speed that he's had, though, it just seems like it's been somewhat to where he's kind of had like somewhat, to where he has been like having a great vision and everything, but his burst has just not been the same a little bit this year, just from
Okay.
observing him. Kennedy, yeah.
Well, no, he's not. He's not going to wow you at the combine. But Kennedy, the reason I love Kennedy Brooks is his decision making and his ability to cut up field at the right moment, and just, he's got great field vision. Like, that's what made him special. Like, he's not. Brooks goes to the draft. He is not going to go there and wow you with like numbers. He's not going to wow you that way. Like, Brooks feels like a day 3 pick that will end up on a practice squad, maybe barely making the team, and then maybe he's a future New England Patriot. You never know. But Kennedy Brooks feels like a guy that we're going to see on a random Monday Night Football in a year or two, and he's going to have a great game. You know what I mean? That's what he feels like to me.
He feels like, I can't think of his name. Samaje, where they both have the same roles and they were very smart about like their type of.
Well, Samaje was a smidge better than Kennedy Brooks. I love Kennedy.
Really, I would say Kennedy is definitely better than Samaje. That's just my opinion.
Are you high?
I don't know. Samaje is much more on top of that list, though.
Samaje had thunder. Samaje had the thighs of a god. Like he had these. He had these like tree trunks. And he could just like mow through people. Like, dude, he had monster games.
Yeah, I still think Kennedy. That's just my opinion. I think Kennedy was better, but that's me.
Well, Kennedy is more of a guy that makes things, waits and let things develop before taking it on.
Ed, if you're watching, you need next time you see your son, smack him upside the head for me, please.
He'll do that anyway.
I love Kennedy Brooks, but he ain't better than Samaje Perine. Like Samaje Perine is like in the backfield with Joe Mixon and the Bengals right now. So
yeah, but Mixon's the one making the plays. It ain't Samaje.
They're a 1-2 combo, sir.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Does that sound familiar to you?
Huh? It's like they played at Oklahoma or something like that. Maybe they were on the same team. Who knows? Yeah. But I prefer Kennedy. That's me. But
you can like him all you want, but he ain't better than Samaje Perine.
But that's the thing. Yeah. Me saying that I prefer Kennedy, they're both great running backs, and they both have different styles. Well, when I'm thinking like Mixon and like Samaje and Kennedy, they both have the same style. So it's like it doesn't faze me one way or the other with it. So which is better, this or this? Well, they're both good. So, but I'll tell my dad that you said that. He'll be like, "Sweet, Sean gave me permission."
Yeah.
So.
So I will say this, like, it's been interesting because, like, I've been looking up at some of the stats and everything, and it's weird because, like, every stat line that you can find between OU and Oregon has been nearly identical, like almost like an identical tale, if anything. I mean, besides the record or anything, but if you look at like some of their points allowed, passing yards, all that and everything, they're almost pretty much identical with each other.
And all that goes out the window with a bunch of players of key positions
yeah, of course, with that being, with some of the players opting out though too, that's going to affect it too though. But it's just kind of, I was just saying, like, just from the regular season standpoint of seeing of like, how even out, like, it seems like these two teams have been all season, too, with some of the, ups and downs that they've had all season.
Yeah. Now here's my question to both of y'all with it, because I want to save some of the like, I have planned coming up an OU recap season for us to talk about just like games and special plays and stuff. But here's my thing with the bowl game and stuff as well. Here's my question going into that. What is truly your expectation with this game? Because I look at it as, with all these players opting out, it's the scrimmage. It's a glorified scrimmage. Yeah, it'd be fun to go to. It's an OU game regardless of it. But I think the most special thing from that is Bob trying to get his win, so he puts him over, I think, the .800 stat.
Well, we'll see.
I think that's it.
I think...
You think what?
I think for me, it's going to be more... where it's going to be basically where, like, with some of the young guys, you want to go ahead and get the experience while you can, especially for somebody like, I'm just saying this, like, for like kind of having the moment and everything, like with Caleb Williams and everything, and with some of the best players opting out though too, kind of giving them their sort of chance, like, to shine a little bit, or some of the other players that you might not see that are backing up though too. I think that's probably what the best goal is. Even if you do win the bowl game or lose the bowl game, there's nothing that can be lost. Especially given those youngsters' experience. That's kind of the way I look at it.
I don't think they're going to get an experience in that game.
Well,
I really don't, Gavin.
What's going to happen is they will time travel back to the year 2006.
Sweet.
And they will walk through like a portal, like Thanos, and they will tell those referees and grab that one official that's digging through the pile, yank his head up and move his eyes and say, "There's that. See number 23, Alan Patrick." Now his name's on the back of the jersey because it's just a weird year, but see that thing he has in his hand? That's the football. I think you know where it is now. You can award the football to the white team, and I'll be on my way. Thank you. And that will be the Alamo Bowl. It'll be traveling through time and striving to put right what once went wrong, and hoping that each time the next leap is the leap home.
I thought that's Quantum Leap, Sean, is the next leap. It's Leap.
I mean, it's one of my favorite shows growing up, so sometimes I go into the prologue,
Hey, that's fair. Now here's my next question for you. And they brought it up with Bob, and I wanted to see, Sean, would your video have been flagged if you were a YouTuber in 2006 when that happened?
You're stealing my tweets that I made, and that's what you're referencing.
No,
so, yeah.
I'm not. I'm stealing what Bob said of, like, I would have been suspended from a couple games because I would have said a lot of things that I would have regretted.
Well, my channel being suspended in 2006 wouldn't have mattered because, like, my channel didn't exist yet. I had an account, like, to comments like most people did, but I didn't have any videos up. But I may have gone. Mind? Oh, I did lose my mind.
I lost my mind too.
I mean, what people don't realize about, like, that outcome of that game is that the outcome of that game, that controversy, was talked about for like an entire week. It wasn't like the number one story, obviously, but it was talked about. It was like a segment 3 or 4 topic on a lot of, like, whether it was like, it was cold pizza back then or before First Take, it was like cold pizza at the First Take.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was like Mike and everything. Like, they talked about that, and there was, like, they asked, like, AP poll voters, like, hey, you guys, like, I technically OU lost the game, but will you guys vote OU as if they didn't lose? And they had, like, a rep say, well, no, we're not going to do that because, what are the final outcome is the final outcome regardless. And we're not going to, and, like that whole year going into it, you had the Bomar, JD Quinn incident with Big Red Sports and Imports and all that stuff. And so you lose your quarterback and an offensive lineman. I think there was, like, one other person. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you had so you go with that, and Paul Thompson, and Paul Thompson was, like, the most beloved player, not named Adrian Peterson that season. Every time he completed a pass, it was like a cheer. I think they played, like, UAB week, like, the first game, and it was a closer game than that was comfortable, but just overall, just get screwed in that game, lose to Texas, you win the Big 12 championship, and it's a big what if. OU, a one-loss Big 12 champion OU team would have been right there with Florida and Ohio State to play in the BCS championship game. Would Florida still have gone? Possibly. Yeah, probably. And we still could have gone to.
They would have.
But this is before the big SEC, streak that took place. This is before all of that nonsense. And who knows if Adrian Peterson hadn't gotten hurt? Adrian Peterson would have won the Heisman Trophy if he hadn't gotten hurt in that Iowa State game.
Not wrong.
Like, if he doesn't break his collarbone, like, he was talked up for Heisman of that based on that Oregon performance. Like people forget he was a monster in that game. Like he made some big plays. Because there was a lot of thought, like, okay, Peterson's healthy, and this is the year. Like they couldn't give him the Heisman in 04 because he was a true freshman. But this was the year Adrian Peterson was going to win the Heisman. Instead, it went to Troy Smith. You know, all due respect to Troy Smith, just he's the Jason White of Ohio State or the Gino Torretta, you know, from Miami. You know, it's that type of winner. I'm not trying to rip Jason. It's just that everyone had all the big Heisman schools have a player that's like, oh yeah, him. Jason White is our him. It's
I wouldn't think Jason White's that.
No. But I'm not talking about OU fans. OU fans know who Jason White is. I'm talking about outside looking in. If you're a fan of like college football, like, oh yeah, him. That's fair. Like Gino Torretta for Miami, like, oh yeah, him. Miami fans love Gino Torretta. But like outside, nobody cares. The same thing for Troy Smith. Oh yeah, Troy Smith was a thing. It's like it's not like I'm not trying to like rip Jason White. I love Jason White, but we're all OU fans here. Like every school that has multiple Heisman winners, there's always a and him. He just happens to be that guy.
See, I always thought, and I guess it's just me, and I know half of it's age stuff. So most of the time it's Billy Vessels. That's it's him. Because
that's like the 50s. I'm talking about like current gen people.
Yeah,
like
for current, it's always Steve Owens more than anything because everybody knows who.
Yeah,
Billy,
but we're talking about, but that's like
different generation.
Yeah, we're talking about different generations. I'm talking about like the last 30 years or so. Like that's kind of where I'm going with like. Everybody, unless you're just a straight up Hall of Famer like Barry Sanders or somebody like that, there's a lot of hymns. Him from like way back when, because you got to look up black and white photos. Like unless you're just a college football junkie like me, who can name a ton of Heisman winners. I can't name them all.
I see your point with that because my mind was thinking like everybody knows who Jason White is because he's blown his knees out so many times and yet he still went through and earned it. But I get where you're going. When you're comparing it to the other Heismans who name, I've heard more, at least here in Oklahoma area, I've heard more people where they thought that Heupel won a Heisman. I went, no, he lost out on it to Winky.
That was Winky, but that was the Winky folks. Winky.
So, but a lot of people were surprised that he didn't win that.
Well,
I get what you're saying with that.
If you look at numbers, like Winky earned it numbers wise. Like Heupel just didn't have numbers. Like Correct. He had big wins, and plus he had a shoulder injury and a rough November. Like he had a rough people were like, how come Josh Heupel didn't win the Heisman? It's like when you go back and look, outside of
Adrian.
outside of the A&M game, like the Texas Tech game was blah, the Oklahoma State game was scary, and then he played well in the Big 12 championship game. Well, no, he was playing hurt.
Yeah, he had a noodle arm in the natty, like that.
But Winky, to his credit, just kept he was an FSU quarterback who put up monster numbers. Sound familiar? Kind of like Oklahoma quarterbacks put up monster numbers. So, Correct. But you know what's fun? You know what's funny? That Heisman finalist group in 2000, it was Winky, Heupel, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, that's who it was. I was thinking Peyton Manning. I was like, no, that's a little bit early.
No. Yeah. But it's like wow. You look at that finalist group. It's like, geez, two slam dunk Hall of Famers, and then you have Winky and Heupel.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, Sean. Where it's just like, and I'm not using it because I won fantasy, but on my team I had Mixon, Brown, and Andrews. I'm like, wow, it's crazy that even in my fantasy group, a lot of those are OU guys that were just good. It sucks that we wasted.
You're that guy. You're that guy who always drafts his favorite college players in the pros.
No,
because I'm that guy. I was that guy. I was like, if I needed bench guys, I'm gonna grab Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills is good. He gets catches. I'd always just go get Kenny Stills.
I actually kind of go with the name, guys. Like, for me, my strategy is always running backs and go for the tight end because tight ends are always, for whatever reason, you get 3. Good luck, everybody else. And that's what happened. I've had Mark Andrews for the past 2 years. So,
Yeah.
but you're using your example though with that. It's kind of the same deal with it. If you take these classes and go, it's kind of crazy where they didn't win it, and then look what they did in the NFL. And I know college is not NFL.
So
but
yeah,
it's still crazy.
But yeah, getting back, I think getting back to the original topic of this whole thing, I think Oregon wins the Alamo Bowl.
Really?
What?
I'm kidding. I meant Oklahoma.
I was gonna say what? That's surprising for you.
That was the joke.
I was like, man. No, I'm just kidding.
After everything I've said, Oregon wins this thing. Yeah. They just won.
What a twist.
Right.
Now here's the thing.
Although,
I had to explain this to some friends of mine that they're paying more attention. They didn't understand too, like when they went to OU, they didn't understand why OU fans, like the ones who were in Oklahoma, Texas area, don't understand like the impact of the Oregon game and why it keeps being brought up. I'm like, guys, it led to rule changes. It led to like the reffing crews coming in. That ref got fired essentially and got demoted because of how egregious it was. Like,
one of the
I
replay guy retired like right afterwards, pretty much.
Right, Gordon and the main
and
guy,
then
Gordon
I
Reese,
think
he got demoted. So,
well, and the
So-
crew actually, I think, served a 2-game suspension. if I'm not
I don't
mistaken.
even think they got suspended. Honestly, they just said
No,
that.
there's actually. No,
I know they said they were getting suspended,
Yeah.
but I don't think they actually were. Like they
the
said
only
it to
one
like
I'm
placate.
aware of was the main ref. He got suspended for 1 game, and then he took a leave the rest of the season because stuff like death threats, things like that, the standard stuff always.
Well, because college football fans are completely sane people.
Are maniacs.
I mean, it's like-
Yeah,
but it brings up like you got like prepubescent little boys that work for K-State who don't understand why Oklahoma fans are mad about things, and so it's like why can't Oklahoma fans get over Lincoln Riley? It's like, motherfucker, like look at what happened in 2006 with Oregon. We bring that people still bring that shit up. They bring up 1971. Like I've been raised to bring up 1971, a clipping call in the first quarter that I wasn't alive for. If you want to go back, if you want to go back further, how about food poisoning from the mob when we went on the road, played Northwestern in the 50s, in the late 50s, like it's like week 1 in Chicago, like the mob supposedly gave us food poisoning,
and it's in books. Like anybody who's watching this, yes, it is in books. And by the way, Sean, just remember, we're both bitter for my dad that they lost that game because of.
Well, no, I am. Listen. When it comes to sports, and because at the end of the day, sports aren't the most important. At the end of the day, they're just fun.
What, Sean? What you're telling me? It's not the end all be all. What?
Well, no, I am all about being raised on retroactive hate. More than happy to retroactively hate things. More than happy to take part. If you raise me like my father raised me right, it's like, no, you will hate these teams. Like this is what it's like. You will hate
Miami.
Texas. You'll hate Texas. You'll look down upon Oklahoma State, and you'll respect Nebraska to an extent, but you still want to beat their asses.
Dude, that's creepy because that's what my dad says too. It's like in a different way. He's like, we don't care about Oklahoma State. I root for Oklahoma State because it's Oklahoma. Unless they're, I said, Dad, you need to root for one team.
That's what your Aunt Betty or Grandma Jude will say. I was like, I'm going to root for both teams. That's great, Grandma. It's like, whatever.
That's what my dad says. I go,
Yeah.
You root for one team, Dad. But no, same thing. You hate Texas, and then you respect Nebraska because they're our true rival. And then for Dad, it was you hate Miami and you hate USC. Those were definitely the two.
Oh yeah, well, we'll get ready for Miami. We'll see if they can finally break through with Cristobal. Because I'll tell you what, man. Like Brent is knee deep recruiting for the state of Florida and Cristobal. Like, I'm not saying we're going to be the only ones like fighting for Florida kids. Like, we're not. Like, there's plenty of other SEC schools in Florida State. But like, Brent's going to be a big time player in Florida. And like if I'm Mario Cristobal, I try to reinstate the state of Miami, like I-4 and below. If you can recruit I-4 and below, you have a great chance of bringing Miami back. Like, I think this is the first time in a long, long time Miami has finally woke the F up. Like when it comes to administrative position, because they're finally paying They're finally opening up checkbooks, and they're finally getting guys to, because apparently all it took was Kirk Herbstreit to rip up a new asshole on College Game Day earlier in the season. Like, they were embarrassed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we should probably care now.
Yeah, like, it takes some of that. It takes sometimes an ass kicking to understand, like, where you're at before, like, enough's enough. You gotta spend money. Look at USC. I mean, as much as we talk about that bitch out west, they're spending money to get the program righted. And I mean, we've done it. Well, I'm not going to say we poach coaches.
I hope we do. We're actually, our checkbooks are opened up a little bit more donor wise. Like the big money donors are like really excited. Like they are energized. So the guys who are like hesitant is like, oh, this okay, because they felt a betrayal they've never felt before, like all of us have. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think recruiting in Florida is going to be intense, and we're going to be in for a lot of guys. And
I think we're entering. I want to add that too, and Sean and Gavin is. I think we're also entering. You mentioned Miami coming back. We're entering like a new. I don't want to say new age of football. We're entering a new hate age of schools are starting to really call out other schools, like USC saying, "I wish Oklahoma fans would leave us the F alone." No. You're just going to stir that pot at that point. That intern needs to be like,
oh my God, there were tweets. My God, they ratio. Oh my God, they were ratioed. My God,
USD, yeah.
Oh my God, they were ratioed. The horror.
But I think you're also you're getting to that point where, like I said, I think you're getting to that thing where the fans, now that they have an actual platform, they're going to ratio the hell out of them. They're going to definitely be like, leave us alone. No, we're good. We're going to keep making fun of you. Like,
I honestly believe, damn, Schultz got hurt. He got hit hard in that. Damn, that sucks. No, I honestly believe, I honestly believe Riley I honestly believe he does not understand how much hatred there is for him. Or maybe he's starting to.
No, he doesn't.
I don't think he really gets it, which is weird. But I mean, but then again, it does kind of
Kevin Durant.
Well, no, it's just the fact that, you keep hearing the stories about how nobody was like close to him, or nobody felt like they knew him. He was a very quiet guy, which I can respect. I'm a private guy myself, but at the same time, it's like, man, just like trying to figure out, like, you just didn't. You were a guy who kept on saying what a special place this was, and he kept saying all the right things for when it came to, and it just like, it doesn't mean shit anymore, especially when you say it over there. When you say it over there at USC, you say, oh, we're going to do this and that. And then you have like Isaiah Thomas, like going on Instagram saying, yeah, he told us that a week ago. Oh, touchdown. 42-7.
It's, like I said, you're entering an age. Look, we're live streaming. This was not possible 10 years ago with the normal everyday fan, yet here we are doing it. The players now kind of have an equal voice to the coaches, and 10 years ago, those players would not have called out a coach doing that. Now it's fair game. I make as much money, even more so maybe than you do, coach. Open season. Like, we've reached it's new.
Isaiah Thomas wasn't making Lincoln Riley money. I promise you that. But
and I'm gonna, and I will say this, like, after the whole news broke and everything, like, I'm not kidding you, like, even the folks like Jeremiah Hall and Braden Willis, they put out an emergency podcast that was like less than 24 hours, which is very unheard of, on that end as well, which, and they had to get their, basically what their emotion. Now, of course, it was like, mostly all positive stuff, because, they won't usually bash out or.
Well, and it's also that at the end of the day, Lincoln, we've all said it before, the way he left is why we're upset. Anybody saying we need to get over it, no, shut the hell up. You don't get it. That being said, it's like the bowl games right now. Anybody surprised that a multi-million-dollar business is going to act like a multi-million-dollar business? Color me shocked. Like, of course stuff's going to do that. Of course coaches are going to go other places. It's weird. Definitely unheard of with moving to another blue blood. But that's where we're at right now. And I'm not surprised that players have come out and said like the stuff about Lincoln, like, yeah, no, he was kind of an ass, like that type of stuff. The only one we haven't heard anything on is Baker, because he was close with Lincoln, and that's it.
Well, I know Kyler was pissed, according to the U40 pod. Like they said,
Yeah, I finally found that, by the way.
it's like, yeah, really, he was not happy about that. I was like, ooh, Kyler's pissed. That's good, because
Yeah,
there was the whole thing of a tweet that was deleted that Riley quote tweeted or whatever. There was like, I guess the NFL deleted it or whatever, but still, it was like, yeah, not thrilled.
Yeah, and that's
Baker's got bigger problems right now because he may not make the playoffs this year, based on yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
well, something to add into it, the
know,
Kyler
he's
stuff
still
for
trying to
those
play on
people
the
who don't know the under 40, definitely go check them out. They're great. Credit to Kerry Murdoch on it for it, but he mentioned too as well, like Kyler's kind of even insinuated like when the trophy ceremony happens, he doesn't want Lincoln there. Like,
well, he's not going to be. He's probably can't be there because he's going to be busy losing. He's going to be coaching USC to like an 8-5 record or whatever. So an 8-4 season.
Yeah, I mean,
but you know, it's like, but like Eddie Radofsky put it like made a great point, like in the pod. It's like people on the outside who could say, "How come you guys aren't getting over this?" It's like he tried to burn the bitch down on his way out. It's not that he just left; he tried to burn it down, like poaching coaches, taking big time recruits away, forcing big time recruits to decommit because, or like all those things, like it's easy to say now. It's like, oh, like Oklahoma's going to be fine, this and that, and like sure, some people like the Brent hire, some people don't. Like Cowherd thinks it's not going to work, but I'll take anything he says with a giant
Cowherd
grain of salt. But people, that was a scary week when we didn't have a head coach. It's like, my God, like we're going, okay, first it was Brent for sure. And then it was like, well, no, it's not going to be Brent for sure. And then it's going to, it's Dave Aranda. Oh, Matt Rules wants the job. It's imminent. Matt Rule. And then and then it was like Dan Lanning's in the running. It's like, we got to get a coach quick. And then once we did, and what I didn't realize is like how not only did we get our coach, it's like how stable everything is feeling right now. Because I don't feel like anything is like so concerning right now. Like, my God, I know Brent is here and everything, but man, if we don't do this, or this, we're screwed. I don't feel like we're going to be screwed for next year anymore. Because that was a scary part. Because when that went down, I was like, man, right now, unless we make the right hire, like there was like, I had no hope for next year. But because you just didn't know.
See, and that's the funny part was we took two different opposite sides of it, because you took more of the recruiting stuff, more of like the depth charts than I do with it. I'm slowly learning like to keep up with a whole lot of that because of changes. But you were where I was going, everything will be fine. We just need to wait it out for a couple weeks. Let's just see what everything happens. And it was just kind of opposite how we took it. But
well, you don't normally, like, this is insane. Like this is not normal. You have a 22 class that was never going to go get a quarterback. You might have like gotten someone late, like a 3-star that just for depth purposes, but they went out because of Lebby. They went out and not only got a blue chip guy, but they brought a top 50 player wide receiver with him. Like, that doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen, period. Mm-mm. It is weird. And
here's something for you, but here's something for you, though, with that at the same time. Was OU able to make everything stable? Because A, they had a connection to Venables anyway, but B, because it's an OU brand with it, goes back to that has versus the have-nots. They were able to make it more stable versus say, let's go for State.
Well, no. It was the fact that it was like the perfect storm of like Venables was like, for years, it's like Venables, is he ever going to take a job? And he just never, everyone thought, oh, K-State, he'll take the K-State job. And he didn't do that. It's like, well, what job is he ever, like, he's just going to be D coordinator forever? And that was like one of my initial kind of concerns. Like, man, is he just going to be a career coordinator? Is this just kind of like a desperate, but it's like, I don't feel like that at all at this point. It's just the fact that not only did you get a guy who used to be here, who wants to be here, he's a quote unquote program guy. It doesn't feel like you're going back and getting like Mike or something anymore. It's like Brent went out. When Brent left OU, he went out and he got better. Like he got better. He is a name that people recognize now in the recruiting world, especially high school football. Guys want to come and play for him. We have a kid from Kansas who was told by Brent, "You committed to Clemson. You need to commit to Clemson. You need to play for Clemson." He's like, "No, I committed to you. I'm going to come play for you. I will just show up at Oklahoma and enroll, and you'll have to give me a scholarship." And that's what's happening with Jared Kanik. Like this guy with elite speed who's going to develop into a hell of a linebacker at some point. It's just like, no, I'm coming to play for you. And my only like minor complaint about Brent is like, Brent, I love you, but like, go if someone at Clemson else wants to come. I mean, you took Thad Turnipseed, Brent. You had no problem bringing Thad Turnipseed with you or some support guys.
So it's
no problem.
Say that, though,
at least get your backup coach, is all I care about. Get your backup coach.
Well, it's funny, though, that y'all both mentioned that, though, because the local media here said he's doing the right thing by saying, if you want to follow me, I'm still going to tell you to go commit to Clemson. However, I'm not going to stop you for it, because they said that shows the difference between Riley and Venables. They said if this was any other situation, sure, do that. But
there's
one, Venables is going to look much better by doing it that way.
Well, like apparently Todd Bates, the D-line coach, is still in the running to come over here and be our D-line coach. Like that's not dead yet. I'm not saying I'm not
left.
Well, it's him, and we're apparently getting Alabama's like corners coach as well. Like we're waiting for the playoff.
You're telling me the roof is on fire, Sean? All right.
No, the roof ain't got nothing to do with that. It's just what I'm saying is like there's like Gentry Williams is a guy that didn't sign with us. He's still committed, and the feeling now is that Gentry is going to stay committed to OU and sign in February. Mm-hmm. But like it feels like everyone kind of knows who the new corner coach is going to be. It's just not public yet, and no one. It's not even confirmed yet. But like we're waiting for Bama to be finished with the playoff, whether it's like whether they lose to Cincinnati or not, or play in the championship game or not. We're just kind of waiting on that. But it's we're going to fill out those two spots, and I think OU actually has a legitimate chance to have a potentially a top 10 recruiting class with all the chaos at the end of the day, like on paper, mind you. Now, whether they end up being top 10 at the end of the day, because I think they're going to have at least 10 more guys like sign in February at this point. Like there's like 6 or 7 names out there right now. You got like the Moton kid down in South Florida, 4-star D tackle. You have R. Mason Thomas, or is it R. Thomas Mason? I always mix those up. Anyway, he's like an Iowa State commit right now. Obviously Kanik has been brought up. Devin Campbell, the big fish, the big 5-star. He's down to OU in Texas for offensive line. So you can go get him. And there's like some Oregon commits they're looking at as well. So that are highly, highly touted. So yeah, for a transition class, it's going to look potentially really, really nice at the end of the day. It's not going to be a monster class like A&M or Texas or Bama or Georgia, but it's like considering everything that's happened, I will take this. It's not like USC's class at the moment.
No,
it's not. Because they're going to be hitting the portal hard.
Yeah, I mean, and there's going to be regardless of our feelings about Tebow, there is going to be players that go to Lincoln. Like there's going to be opportunities, and I mean that's just the question is to me.
What's USC? What's
correct.
USC?
Well, it's also too what is it going to look like because you have Dan Lanning going to Oregon. I don't think Lincoln's going to be.
That's the thing. Like Riley's going to have to deal with like it's like okay, what's the like when Cristobal left? It's like okay, who's the competition going to be for him at this point? Lanning is like an unproven commodity as a head coach, but players love to play for him, man. Like I was excited when it looked like for a brief period that Lanning could have been the guy. I was ready to buy in on that. I was like, okay, if this is a player's coach and he can be a great recruiter, he can put. It's like okay, it's new, it's scary, but at the same time, you get me a guy who. If you get me a guy who players want to run through a brick wall for, I'm all for it. Let's go do this. Let's go get a guy that people are excited about. But you're going to have that at Oregon. He's going to have all that Oregon bagman money up there because let's be honest, they do.
Oh yeah, they got that Nike money.
And Cristobal's probably has no problem. We had Dante. We lost Dante Manning to a pretty impressive bagman up in Oregon. It's like Dante Manning's a commit to OU. Awesome. It's like no, he's committing to Oregon. How'd that happen? Bagman. Okay. Jacob Phillips is committing to OU. Oh, great! It's like and then the LSU visit happens. Like, oh, what happened, Bagman?
I do.
But he was gonna. So I interviewed Josh McCuistion with Joe one time. He's like, "So you brought it up? What happened with Jacob Phillips?" And he was like dancing around. It's like we knew there was a Bagman involved way back when.
And that's what happens. I mean, it's one of those things where it was like that LSU guy. What's his name?
Jacob Phillips.
No, there was. I thought there was a second one as well.
Well, no, Jacob Phillips was like
another one.
He was the guy.
I'm thinking of Alabama. I'm thinking of Alabama running backs. That's why I'm not thinking of LSU.
Oh, you're thinking of like Jace McClellan.
Yeah. That's who I'm thinking of.
Well, I don't know if that was. I don't know if a bagman was involved because it's Alabama, but Jay Boulware got his ass fired because they were screwed and they lost that's what hurt running. But people were like. Idiots yelling at DeMarco about his recruit. It was like, screw you, dude. Jay Boulware screwed us over. And and DeMarco's first year as a head coach was COVID year 1. So everyone who's yelling, and now everyone was worried, oh my God, I hope I don't lose DeMarco to USC. It's like, how many of you dumbasses were ripping DeMarco for not closing the deal on Kamar Wheat? It's like, shut up. DeMarco got you Gavin Sawchuk and is likely going to... Not only has he got you Gavin Sawchuk and potentially Javonte Barnes next week, he's also got you DeAndre Moore, wide receiver, part of that 23 class that out of California that are teammates with Malachi Nelson and Mekhi Lemon, who decommitted and flipped to USC. He didn't flip to them because, number one, DeMarco was his primary recruiter, and number two, he's just the kid's just a diehard OU fan. Apparently, he has little kid love for OU, which is something very hard to overcome. When you have he apparently has that Baker Mayfield little kid love for OU. So the fact that he's sticking around for the 23 class is as a big time wide receiver commit is huge already. So I mean. I don't know if we're gonna get Luke Haas back because Arkansas is really going at him hard, and it sounds like he might go there, but. Regardless of how the 23 class turns out, you at least have someone of note who didn't jump ship, mainly because they love Oklahoma that much. But I mean, 23 feels exciting just for the defensive possibilities of what could be.
Exactly.
LT Overton. LT Overton, please come to you.
Fingers crossed. I mean.
God, there was so much talk about LT Overton reclassifying to 22, and I'm kind of glad that's not true now.
But, do you think that he might?
No, it would we would have known by now at this point. If he were he's not, that's not going to happen. But, Lord, it's kind of glad it didn't.
yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, it's still weird. I mean, guys, I didn't mention earlier video because I was saving it, but. I mean, we're less than a week off now from truly OU's end of season stuff, regardless of how we felt about the season. Recruiting, regular season, we're about to go to the off season.
Well, we got all-star games, high school, where a lot of announcements are going to happen. So
right, we still got that, sure, with recruiting and stuff like that. But concerning OU, the main stuff on the field, it's done on Wednesday. That's a weird feeling that, first off, we've done this for a full season together. This has been fantastic, and it's just weird, how much of this season, Sean, you put it, this is a roller coaster of a season, and it absolutely has been a roller coaster of a season. There was no brakes on the OU train at this point for this one at all, and it hasn't ended yet. We still have recruiting to go through before. When do we get a breather? Maybe February? Maybe.
No.
I would say maybe I would say maybe either May or June or somewhere in there.
Not even then. No.
Or April.
No, because July has become a giant recruiting month. So, July is a huge recruiting month for everybody. So, I'm from what I understand, Brent is gonna keep all of the positive things that Riley did here going. We're gonna have
barbecue.
Yeah, we're gonna have similar. We're gonna have like July barbecue events and stuff. We'll have guys come to spring. All the things that like even though he's technically a rookie head coach, like all those things like are gonna happen as far as I'm concerned. And plus, Brent will still have that cachet where he can bring back former players and he can have them so he'll be able to grab, especially guys on defense. Like, you think Gerald McCoy wouldn't come back at this point?
Oh,
like,
I would love that.
GK could come back and do some things.
It's totally Red Dirt's joke, and I'm definitely stealing it for this one. But I have to give Riley credit. He got Bradford out of witness protection and brought him. Like, Bradford doesn't like the crowds, and kudos. I mean, Bradford sees even stuff changing.
No, Sam Bradford's my spirit. Sam Bradford's my spirit animal. I love Sam Bradford.
Why so? Because
I hate people too in general. Like, I don't like hate individuals, but I hate people in general because people just suck. It's like I got to get to know you one-on-one as a person. Basically, it's like I just like crowds and stuff and everything. It's like.
Or bring you to a football game, Sean. I'm just saying.
Well, no. If I'm at a football game or an OU football game, I'm with my people. I'm with like my OU fans. It's like, everything's good. If we're all wearing the same colors and hats and shirts, like, or if I go to a stupid anime convention, I'm with my peoples. It's different. We're all there for the same purpose. But if I'm in a general, it's like I hate people. Just like in general. If I go to the mall or something, or I'm at a movie theater and there's like some jerk who can't shut up or get off his phone, that's when I hate people. That's what I get.
That's about right.
You want to go out and do something random? No. I don't.
Do you want to go to Disney World? Maybe.
No, I did that. I did that like a little while ago, and it rained all day, and I was miserable. I really hated life then.
Yeah, still. Well, yeah. I remember you telling me that with it. So I do want to go back, kind of bring this topic back around here next week as well, but we can get a jump on it for a little bit for OU this season, not including the Oregon game at the moment. What were some of the standout plays for your guys, since they're already doing kind of
it's the Texas game, Josh? That's it.
I said plays, not games.
No, it's the Texas game. That's it. That's all you need to know. I mean, if you want to say the DJ Graham pick, sure, or the Perrin Winfrey hit on
Iowa State
on Purdy, it's the Texas game. Like, will we go back and look on this year? It's the comeback versus Texas. That's the highlight. That's the great moment, and everything else is kind of like it's just been it was a disaster sandwich, but in the middle was the juicy meat of like biggest comeback against Texas ever, and
I'm so glad I went to that game.
Ruining their season. So believe me, I have a video I'm going to try to make where I'm going to recreate like OU fan reacts to the 2021 season and just try to make it jokey and silly and fun. It's going to take a long time to do it, but try to get some goofy music and see if I can slip in some clips without getting flagged by YouTube or X's and O's Digital Sports or whatever, trying to steal money from me.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna see
so
what...
it's you too. I had kind of that one too on mine where it was all the images. It's like,
dude, X's and O's Digital Sports are the worst, man. They're worse than Toei Animation, man. They will just take your revenue.
So what you're telling me is we need to act like Mexico with Toei when there's like, you can't show Dragon Ball. Haha, joke's on you. We're doing it anyway.
Something like that, yeah. But you have to use I'm gonna use pictures and I'm gonna try to use GIFs, see if that works without any audio or whatever. See if I can get around it that way. But
then let me ask you then, if the Texas one is gonna be y'all's diehard one for Gavin, is that kind of your highlight one as well with the Texas one with it as well, or is there another play or something that immediately comes to mind for you? I'm assuming for yours it's got to be, in my opinion, Texas Tech, because that was your return to Owen Field after what, 10 years? No, 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. Okay, I would probably say, I think it was that one play for me. I would say it was basically Williams getting out of the pocket and finding the other Williams. That's having that Williams to Williams connection. That was probably, I think, was my play, if anything.
Yeah.
Because for me it was like, that pocket was collapsing, and he just somehow smoothly just stepped up, knowing where the line of scrimmage was, and floats in the back to Mario.
Yeah, see, mine, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely a notable one for me. Is I gotta say one of my highlight ones is definitely, and it's going to be underappreciated. It's during the Texas game, Kennedy Brooks's run to put us in the lead. When he pushes Drake out of the way, that was just a special play because that was not only field awareness, but also Drake was like blocking for Kennedy, like big time play for that. Like that's just one of my favorites. It's hard to explain definitely in the moment.
Yeah, and I think what the other point that you're bringing up, though, too, it wasn't just like one time that Stoops did it. He did that twice.
Yeah.
He did it like 2 different times, where they did that same play, and Stoops was lead blocking on that 2 times.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean, since you're big on the recruiting, Biggie's wondering, are Mason Thomas, you going to flip him?
Probably. I mean, he's one of the names.
Do you think we'll get one by the end of the year or by February at this point?
I mean, there's nothing imminent right now. It's a day by day situation. Like you're going to have some guys in January like announce commit. Some guys will pick commitment dates or they'll put out their IFD committed from so and so. Like the only thing I can tell you that feels imminent right now is Javonte Barnes a week from today. Like during the Under Armour game. Like that's really the earliest that I feel comfortable saying an OU has a guy that's going to add to the class. That he's been rumored to have been a silent, like not just a commit, but a signee, an early day signee. He just wants to have the announcement. He wants to have the public announcement on TV, and then OU has the graphic department ready to go to like post on Twitter, "Welcome to OU, Javonte Barnes," and all that stuff. So that's the feeling, the sense I'm hearing right now. I think it's him and Bama, I think, which wouldn't shock me at all if he didn't sign. He had, considering our luck with running backs in Alabama. Oh, so you guys are in a running back? You don't say. But Javonte, like DeMarco was a big piece of Javonte Barnes. Like he's a Vegas kid. DeMarco's a Vegas kid. That's gonna be a hard thing to overcome. And plus a distance thing. If you're gonna go far away, like Bama's further away than Oklahoma, all those little things work in your favor. So and maybe it doesn't matter, but I feel like Javonte Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk are a great combo to have for a running back class.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we had Relic Brown. Screw you, Tebow. Hate you so much.
I'm disappointed on that too. It is what it is, though.
Dak is still playing, and they're up 42-7.
Hey, gotta get those reps in for him. Now, another one though, Sean that Biggie asked too was, have you heard any additional stuff about DeMarco still being asked by Tebow to come to USC? Do we know any other details on that one?
He ain't going to USC.
I know that, but is he really pushing that though, knowing he's not going to go? Like,
well, OU's got to pay him. Like that's the other thing. OU's got to like open up their checkbook and like pay him what he's worth, because DeMarco is becoming like a rising star in the coaching world at running backs, because DeMarco was like I don't want to call it a novelty hire, but it was an easy sell, a former player, a Dallas Cowboy who has team records still to this day. You knew who DeMarco Murray was if you watched the Dallas Cowboys, like from 2011.
That was a perfect prime for the kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So DeMarco made playoff runs. Was when you wear the star on your helmet, it means something. It's like being a Laker. People know who you are. So he had that. He got to use that to his advantage, and he knows the program. It's like the perfect storm. So OU's got to pay him they got to match certain offers and salaries when it comes to this. So I think it's going to be okay with DeMarco at this point. Like if he went to USC, like it would be just like, what the hell?
It'd be money.
At this,
it'd have to be pure.
It would be a straight because it would be a money thing. If OU doesn't open up and just pay, like we're not talking like something stupid like $2 million a year. We're talking like he like close, like get him to the upper echelon, like of like just a little under $1 million. that type of thing. Like you need to like coaches' salaries are going up, man. So when you think Brent's not going to be super, super highly paid like some of the other guys, but over time he will be. Like this is the way I look at things. If you're not paying your coaches, you're getting rid of them and getting new ones. If you're not paying them, like why are you like? It's like when people say, "Why are you why is oh god, the Michigan State coach? I totally blanked. Michigan State coach right now.
Oh,
Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker. It's like, why are you paying Mel Tucker $95 million? It's like, if you're not paying your coaches,
they're not going to stick around.
Well, no, if you're not paying them, you might as well fire them and replace them.
Yeah,
Mel Tucker beat Michigan, which is the most important thing for Michigan State to do. Listen, they got their asses kicked by Ohio State. This is year two. This is year two for Mel Tucker. Year one was a COVID year. He barely knew his players' names, and he beat Michigan. He's 2-0 versus Michigan, and he got Michigan. He had a Heisman contender who probably could have won it if they would have won the Big Ten. If they win the Big Ten, Kenneth Walker's your Heisman winner, without question. He wins the Heisman. So Mel Tucker getting paid what he's getting paid. Like Mel Tucker is good. Like he'll be good. The Big Ten East is going to be fun again because Ohio State, Michigan State, and to some extent Penn State's in a weird thing right now. I mean, hey, they're paying their coach. They didn't do well, but they're keeping their coach. So you're either paying them or getting rid of them. So
yeah, I mean,
that's
how long ago was it? I think it was. I want to say 2017 when this topic was brought up with it, and feel free to tell me my date's wrong on it, but it was within the past decade of when are we going to start paying defensive coordinators about $1 million because that's where we're reaching, and we're kind of reaching that.
Brent was kind of the guy that you started doing that with, and he got paid too.
Yeah, and you have to keep him. Yeah,
you're not paying Ted Roof like $2 million, mind you, but still, it's just like,
oh, the roof isn't on fire on his paycheck. That's depressing.
No, it's not. But like coaching salaries are going to go up. The sport, more money is going to the sport, and people need to realize that it's like if you're not willing to open up the checkbook and pay guys, you're not gonna be able to keep. Like it's hard to keep a staff together long term. That's not like Saban goes through guys like every other year. Like who's Saban's OC? Does it matter? No, like he had Lane Kiffin for a year. He had Sark for a little bit. He had Bill O'Brien or whoever the hell. Just like it doesn't matter. Like Bama fans want Pete Golding fired. You got Pete Golding's defense had one of the better performances in Atlanta a few weeks ago. So they hate Pete Golding, and they hate their cornerbacks coach, which is good for us because the fans do, I should say, because we're going after their corners coach, even though he's like a journeyman guy who doesn't stick around long, but that guy has connections and can get us some quality guys apparently. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. Here's my question. And this has kind of been floating in my mind. Will Venables kind of do what Lincoln refused to do? I know I said the forbidden name, but in this purpose, because Saban has he has his 9, I think, coaches on staff, but he has like 45 assistants. It's an astronomically high.
You're talking like analysts.
Yeah. Do you think Venables is going to go that direction at this point?
Of course he's getting analysts. You have to get analysts nowadays.
How many did Riley have?
Not enough. He had a few, but Riley was begging for I need money for analysts. He wanted money for a private jet. He didn't want to use a booster's jet. He wanted his own jet just to go around and do whatever. He wanted that. He wanted more money for analysts. Before all the chaos went down, the stuff I was hearing is I agreed with Riley. Open up the checkbook for this dude and give him what he wants. Because if you're not paying your guys, or if you're not all in on this, then guess what? Because we're going into the SEC. It is as much as I love winning the Big 12 title, it's not the same thing. You're going to be going to Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, LSU. All these programs are trying to play catch up, and they're trying to do things, and they're trying to they're getting top tier guys that used to be D coordinators that are just analysts now. They're just for recruiting purposes and for coaching purposes. It is you have to have a big war chest to go out there and compete year in and year out. And that's apparently they have built Brent a war chest. Like he's
Well,
going to
and
have his
also-
resources.
It also lets the coaches like build their resumes and stuff too as like those assistants or anything like that. Be like, oh, I worked under this, just to give them a little bit of a head start if they're truly interested in going in coaching. And it opens up possibilities for lower.
Well,
stuff.
it's not just like it's not just low level guys. It's guys who have been in who are names. Like, you know, Mike was an analyst for it at Alabama.
Right.
Mike Stoops, like he did analyst work and stuff at Alabama, and like Sark wanted to bring him with him and make him like a position coach. And Texas went no, because they saw what happened at OU when he was in charge of anything in his second tier there, in a second term there. So it's like nope. They vetoed him quick, which was like, I guess was smart at the end of the day. He wasn't gonna be D coordinator. They wanted to coach safeties or whatever, but it's like I laugh, but I don't blame them.
And look how far they've fallen off with their defense this year.
well, that's the thing about but no grown-up thought Texas was going to be really good this year because that offensive line's trash. It was everyone knew going in, like the one whenever Texas got brought up in the off season with like guys I talked to, it's like, man, that offensive line is going to be bad. We all knew it. We all knew it.
You said it on this live stream. You're not worried about Texas's O-line because it's bad, like bad.
Now I didn't expect the game to turn out the way it did, obviously, because we had our own weird set of issues, and you know we had our coach like with one foot out the door since like mid-September apparently. But at the same time, Texas lost to a head coach who had his foot out the door. You still lost. You had the game won. And if he doesn't like say screw it, I'll put in my true freshman quarterback and see what happens. Then he got like 6-year seniors like making big plays on special teams and stripping footballs and all these things that just happened to fall into place one by one. But yeah, like for Texas, like I don't know, like they're starting. It feels like they're starting over again next year because Casey's gone. They got the Ewers kid, the big 5-star. He was at Ohio State for a cup of coffee, got himself $3 million in NIL money. I bet they're regretting that shit now. And now he's at Texas, and okay, now there's a new quarterback, and they have all these offensive line commits for this class. Like, are you going to play 5 true freshmen across the line? Please do that. I beg you, please play a bunch of true freshmen on your O-line. Because as good and talented, like you can get a talented guard. Yeah. I ain't no football expert, and I'm not going to pretend to be, but there's one thing I do know. If you have like a really talented guard, they can play as a freshman. You don't want your tackles to be true freshmen, but you can have like a guard interior guy. You can have like one interior guy who's like really, really good, who's already built, who's like like a Devin Campbell could potentially be that guy. So you just don't want your tackles to be true freshmen because that's just like you're in trouble if you have true freshman tackles on your O-line because it's just an experience thing, and it's like you're right. Is like you might be doing okay against certain Big 12 competition, but I mean Orlando Brown is a redshirt freshman. A redshirt freshman was struggling. That was like a year under his belt.
Would you say that kind of does apply to grad students as well, where you get them for roughly like 1 year and they can either be really good or a bust at that point? Because that one I always feel like is kind of such an unknown. Like if you take from the transfer, sure, with freshmen, that's definitely
how much football they played. Why did they leave? Were they injury prone? Did they not get along with it? There's all these different reasons why guys leave schools. So it's like it's a case by case basis. So you just don't know, like we got the Tennessee players because they were jumping shit because of like the the idiocy going on by their head coach and the McDonald's bags payoffs. They got exposed. They got caught. Yeah. A lot of guys jump ship, and so Tennessee has to start over again. Heupel, to his credit, did a pretty decent job this year, and to Heupel's credit, he went toe-to-toe with Alabama to the fourth quarter. The floodgates open, but while we were lampooning the Kansas game and what the hell happened there with us, you have I'm sitting watching pro wrestling at Edition Financial Arena. Someone's got their someone's got to put their earbuds in.
Yeah.
And
Gavin, that's your earbuds, buddy.
Oh, sorry about that.
So
That's okay.
While that's going on, like Tennessee's within like one touchdown for most of the game, and then I get out back, and then Bama just blew their doors off. But it's but yeah, just grad transfers and all that stuff. It's just, it's a case by case thing. You just don't know.
And it changes no different than that. It changes year to year on it. I mean, football, it keeps changing. It ain't slowing down anytime soon, so any consistency or anything. We're about an hour and 35 minutes. I only had one more thing I wanted to bring up for this week before we wrap up with it, just get your thoughts on it, because Sean, I saw it earlier in the week. I think it was Tuesday. Do you think, and it's something that's been bouncing around, okay? And I don't know if it's going to be a distraction for Gundy or anything. Can you give us some insight on what is going on with the kid that OU decommitted, and then it came out that he committed first-degree manslaughter?
God.
If you want to get into it, but kind of more than I do at that point. But he was an OU thing. If not, it's not
the OSU apologists are disgusting, and because they want to make it a Bedlam rivalry. I have. They want to make it a Bedlam rivalry thing, and this is not the time to do that shit. And they're trying to say, "Well, you guys offered." It was like, motherfucker! Like, everyone found out late about what. Nobody knew this happened because he was a minor, and this stuff is sealed. Well, why didn't I hear this on the news? Is what I heard. It was on the news, but you know why names weren't dropped? Because 2 minors were involved in the horrible accident that happened. Manslaughter. It was on the news. When you go look at it now and you match up the dates, there's footage of on the scene, a horrible, someone was driving 100+ miles per hour in a residential area, mind you. This wasn't on I-40 or I-35. This kid, this 17-year-old who was sober, who amongst us, I literally got a tweet. Well, who amongst us? I used to drive over 100 miles over the time. Well, you're an idiot. I get this. I'm a fan of yours. I can't believe you was no, you're 17 years old. You're old enough to know better. Okay. And it's
Absolutely.
I'm getting on my high. You're driving 100 miles an hour in in a residential area. It's you're an idiot. You're stupid. Oh, he's just a kid. No, being just a kid is you're skipping class, or, you oversleep and you're late for school. Those are kid things. You killed a person because of negligence, because you were an idiot. And it's just, and what happened was Deshaun Brown, that's who it is, was going to be offered, long story short, before the Riley chaos, OU was going heavy for Marvin Jones Jr. The 13.com ranks him as the number 1 player in the country, rush, defensive end, rush end, rush. We were going after him hard. And if all the chaos didn't happen, we probably end up getting him, because Jamar Cain and the staff and everything, we were probably going to get him. Deshaun Brown was a fallback option. And so Deshaun was why? Man, we're just going to here's this 4-star guy in state, and in-state guy. So all the chaos happens. Brent gets here. It's hey, Deshaun Brown, he's waiting for an OU. If we give him an offer, he's going to commit to OU more than likely. So a couple weeks before early signing day, or the week before early signing, we have the big visits, right? That's when we have Nick Evers come in. We have Gibson come in, and Deshaun Brown was supposed to come in as well. And so, but all of a sudden, Deshaun Brown's visit got canceled. You know why it got canceled? Because Brent and his staff, whoever, they did their due diligence, and they found out, because I knew based on guys I talked to, there was rumors about it. There was a red flag with this kid. It's what happened? He must have done something wrong. It's there was a red flag with him. But and the person who mentioned it in the Discord is it's a doozy. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's a doozy. He's oh, okay. So OU pulled their offer, didn't make their offer, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so Oklahoma State fans Oklahoma offered him the day after this and that. I was you guys are just guys look so terrible when you say this shit. And he's gone. He'll be back soon, I guess. But anyway, are we even streaming right now? I guess we're still live.
Yeah,
but,
we're still live. Sorry, we're still live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, But then that news came out. Oh, block punt for Dallas. Touchdown. But yeah, that went down. And the problem for Mike Gundy, he has two. His only choice is to feign ignorance here, that he just didn't know. And supposedly he got found guilty. He didn't just he pled. He said, "I did this. Like, this is me." And so, if from what I understand, if he had been drunk, like it was like a DUI manslaughter, he would have been tried as an adult. Yeah. But supposedly, he's getting no jail time at the moment, or it's not over yet, because he had a family member on Twitter saying, just going apeshit over it. And then you got OK State problems trying to tell the family member how to feel, and then they respond to the family member saying, "Oh, this is like a 1.5 year, this is like 1.5 years probation for the kid, in Norman," like trying to make it a joke, like a rivalry thing. Just gross and disgusting.
Yeah, it was. It was one of the dumbest things. Like, bro, this is not what you think it is. Like,
it's like just
not at all.
It's just gross. Like, someone was killed. This isn't. It's like you're trying to bring up Joe Mixon stuff, and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to do the Spider-Man meme thing over this or whatever the hell? It's just gross.
Yeah, it's toxic. It's absolutely bad.
But it's like the problem is, and then I hear people saying, "Oh, it's like, kids make mistakes. Why are you saying this kid needs?" Like, my problem is that this kid did not suffer any consequences so far. He got to have a good little high school ceremony, sign, and get like all the love and admiration that a lot of high caliber players get. And he's just going to play he's going to play big boy college football like nothing happened. At least Joe Mixon was suspended for a year.
Yeah.
And he didn't kill anybody either. I hate to play that card, but god damn. Excuse me, but I just get infuriated by just people who are just ignorant over this shit. Like, you killed a teenage kid on a bicycle going 100 miles an hour in a residential area.
And based on the police report, it was not under the influence. Like, this
was he was freaking sober.
Correct.
So it's like, I hate it when people bring up that crap. I was like, it's like, no. Like, Mike Gundy is in a pickle here. Like, so Mike Gundy has to feign ignorance, and if Mike Gundy grandsons, we got to give kids another chance. It's like this isn't
the same thing like Ryan Broyles stealing gasoline from the gas station, or even Mixon's with it. This is Mixon's was bad, and I knew you were with me the day it happened, and I'm like, oh god, here we go. And then I was trying to be the optimist. I was like, well, maybe there's more.
And I'm like, you're right. No. And like, I knew what was going to happen because there was the video. Everyone was bringing the video, and Mixon's lawyers were doing everything to suppress that thing, and they were suppressing it. And it's like, it's someday, the day, like I told, like, and Bob had suspended him for the year. Yeah. I said, I promise you, the day that video comes out, everyone's going to scream for retroactive punishment. They're going to scream about it. And what happened? They were screaming for retroactive punishment. And the problem was for Bob is that it was during a time of the Ray Rice stuff, and then Adrian Peterson had his issue with the switch and like disciplining his kid, with like a quote unquote corporal punishment type of deal. So it was just a bad short time frame of all this stuff going on. But I'm sorry, 17-year-old kid kills someone. I'm not saying he needs to be punished for the rest of his life. What I'm saying is he didn't serve any type of punishment or any type of consequences. That's my problem.
Well, and that's the thing too. I haven't read it in about a year on it. Anyone who owns it, Bob's book is really good. It's okay. Well, it's okay, but it's really good up to the point of him like going to OU. Then it's very much paint by numbers. That being said, with his Shadow Rider, I believe Bob said like with Mixon, he stuck to his stuff of Mixon was underage when that happened. He doesn't really go with the birthday thing of he was underage when it happened, and he believes in second chances with it. And he pretty much said, I'm putting my reputation on the line with it. If Mixon pans out, I'll show you I was right. You have to give kids a second chance with it.
Now he had a parking ticket incident, but like that's a normal
that's
a normal stupid thing college students do.
Correct.
But like that no one got hurt. It was just a stupid, immature thing to do. But
correct.
It's just my thing with Bob back then is like, man, he tried to he played the whole maybe I should have done things differently. Oh, I wish he hadn't said that. It's like I mean, I'm not saying he should like pound his fist or anything. It was like, at the time, this is how I felt the punishment. He did this.
But he stuck by it and was consistent that. And
he was, but like I hate
do it that way. It was just the situation was so different than
like
anything he encountered before.
Like Nick Saban had a big speech that pops up on the internet. Guys make mistakes, like where they do something stupid, and it's one thing if it just affects you.
Mm-hmm.
If you do something stupid and it mainly affects you,
correct?
Like you're dealing with a loss of life that was your fault. It was negligent. It was unintentional, mind you, but gross negligence on. Like when you're 17,
right.
When you're 17, listen. I think there are certain ages where when you get to double digits, at times you know better. If you have good parents that raise you, you know better. You're not 5. You're not like running with scissors here, like in kindergarten, where you got to be where parents got to helicopter you all the time. No. You're 17. You're old enough to drive. You're almost old enough to go to war. You know better.
Yeah,
you know, like going 100 is just stupid.
Well,
just
and
stupid.
That's where I said. Looking at both spheres, I think this is going to get more attention once the bowl season is over with. It's going to be the same thing with Gundy with it. I think they are going to say with Gundy, like, hey, why didn't you vet the person? Like, this is just basic info. Do they have any pending litigation? This is part of any background check for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're an adult or a kid. That's a simple thing.
Brent was able to figure it out apparently. So
right, and they once it was figured out, from my understanding, dropped it. Like, we're not offering this kid.
Yeah, we're not offering. We don't want the headache. It's not. Sorry.
Correct. There's drama with it, and I think Gundy's going to have to deal with that. And my question is going to be.
Plus, you have the fact you don't know if this kid's going to spend time. He's going to do time because he still might. He still might apparently.
I think he is because I think he. You said he pled guilty. Biggie says no contest. I think whatever it is,
it was no contest.
There's no contest. Okay.
Either going to be. Then he's going to be spending time with it. You're still going to have to reject that at this point and still deal with the consequences. But how many people are going to truly accept Gundy being ignorant on it? Or does it again play into the narrative that Gundy doesn't know his players? And
it's not. I'm not gonna go into the whole Gundy doesn't know his players thing. All I'm gonna say is that it's like Gundy got caught in a no-win situation here. Yeah. So like it's like because you're the rival coach who just took the job, who was only like 1 or 2 weeks on the job, was able to vet this kid and figure things out. And maybe it was a situation where he didn't feel he had to because maybe he did so before the records were sealed. I'm just spitballing here. I don't know. But the problem is that this is gonna follow for a little bit. This is depending on how this all turns out. But my issue is like idiot, like Twitter Oklahoma State morons who are just apologists and try to like point out like other crimes committed by Oklahoma players or whatever over the years or so. Like it's like that has anything to do with this,
right? Well, and let's be honest, that account just in general is bad. Like
he's on his like third account, by the way. What a shock! Because he gets shut down. He's just a piece of shit human being.
Well, he said the same thing too about the Oklahoma State. OU needs to take the L, and everyone ratioed him against Baylor. Like that person just is not a good social media person. Like,
no, he's a troll. He's an idiot. He's a joke. He's a joke account. And he's a joke human being. And it's like. It's one thing if it's just football stuff and you're just a little whiny little bitch about football school, like winning or losing football. When you quote tweet one of the family members and try to tell them how they're supposed to feel about this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry how this happened, but blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like that, you went way too fucking far.
Yeah. Don't tweet at family members.
Oh my God. It's like you had and then he deleted that because he knew he did wrong.
Screenshots are forever though.
Yeah. Screenshots are forever, motherfucker.
Yeah. Like it's just a bad look. And I wanted to bring
trying to tell a family member how to feel.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like, you know better. Come on, dude. Like Anyway, I wanted to bring it up because
Mhm.
I feel like that's going to be coming back around. I really do believe we're not going to hear the end of
I mean,
it.
I didn't make a
gonna
video
be
about
awesome.
I didn't make a video about it or anything because I didn't want to like it just felt gross to talk about it on Twitter. It just like I didn't
Yeah.
want to like because it would just that's not what I wanted to like like I know like the family member like on there wants to have the reason they're on Twitter they want to have it get more attention obviously, and I understand that, but I just like it's not my place to get really too deep into it. Like, and I like, or
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, obviously we talked about it here, but like, I don't want to make a video where I'm like profiting off of this, where I get a bunch of
Right.
views. I just didn't want to do that. I would have felt like gross
Right.
about that. It's just
Right.
like I didn't want to do that. Where like, oh, I just got 20,000 views because I was enraged about this. Oh, nice check I got for it. No, I didn't want to
Right.
do that.
Well, it's also I don't when I say it's let's talk about it now, it's also too I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's just going to come back up the more info this stuff comes out, like from his court case, as well as into the off season. I really do believe this is going to be a big thing. Gundy's going to have to figure out, and it's either going to go badly or very badly. And I don't think there's going to be any escape from it. I think this is going to be another off season type of thing with it. FYI, guys, my videos aren't monetized. That's why I bring it up too. Like, I get your
Well,
reasons, Sean, with it.
you got a little ways to go.
I do. I do.
You gotta crank.
But I
You
have
gotta
a
crank out the
whopping
content.
92.
Yeah, you gotta crank out the content.
It's true.
Like
I've been
yeah,
slacking on the content. But no, but I did in our dialogue and stuff like this is. In my opinion, when spring ball becomes a big thing, and if he is truly signed and nothing has happened, I think it's going to come back up in the news, and you're going to see outrage from it, and you're going to see the Twitter outrage from it. Like I just see it. It just feels like that's coming, in my opinion.
Well,
but more as well as more
see.
vocal as the family gets.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, finally, Dak isn't playing. Good. Cooper Rush out there. Cooper Rush is out there.
We're at 9:51 Central Time, guys. So let's wrap it up. Sean, what's your prediction for the Alamo Bowl? Outside of OU winning.
Time travel.
Sweet. Are we going to gather the Infinity Gauntlet?
No.
Are we going to do other matters?
No, we're just gonna just drop me into that box. I'll knock out the replay guy, and I'll just like, all right, guys, he touched the ball 9 yards, and clearly the Oklahoma player recovered it. Oh, look at that!
Who is this radio person? just don't worry.
You have a really nice voice, by the way. Why, thank you. Yes.
Gavin, what's your prediction for a game this Saturday? Will OU cover the spread?
What is the spread?
I think
4.5
points.
Oh. We're the late game, so
4.5. So, yep.
I think they'll be over 4.5. That's what I'll say. They'll be over that. So
that's what I'm thinking too. I think OU's going to cover the spread, and I think they're going to cover the over under as well. The overall with it, I think they're going to cover that easily. For it, we'll see though. I mean, it's going to be an interesting game. At least we have more interesting bowl games this week versus last week. At least something to watch or anything like that. Because playoff is later this week as well. So I want to thank everybody for joining with us tonight. And next week we're going to be basically recapping the Alamo Bowl and doing something I've been wanting to talk about. Kind of recap the entire OU season. What games were the best ones? What plays we enjoyed? What things we missed out? And just kind of like start going into the offseason, guys. So I want to thank everybody for joining in. I hope everybody had a safe, happy holidays. Again, comment, rate, subscribe. I'm at 92. I'm at a big whopping 92 subscribers, guys. I want to see if we can get to 100. My original goal was 1,000, and maybe that's possible in 5 days. But I want to see if we can get to 100. So definitely click the bell as well with it. Sean, you reminded me for that. Has really helped out a lot. Again, that reminds everybody when I go live. Y'all will be able to tune in. So other than that, guys, that's all I got. So I hope y'all have a wonderful and safe New Year's. If y'all go out and party, be safe, guys, with it. Be sure to wear a mask, especially if you're in large crowds. So other than that, and if you're going to the game, have fun at the game. So Boomer Sooner, guys. Only one Oklahoma. I'll see everybody here, same time, same place next week. Later.
Peace.
You.